Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take interesting sources, pull out the key ideas, and share them with you. Today, we're getting into some really expansive and, frankly, mind-bending concepts that come from a pretty unique source, excerpts of Seth Speaks, The Eternal Validity of the Soul. It's an audiobook transcript, originally from 1972, that we found via YouTube channel. So our goal today is to really unpack the core ideas from this material. Think of it as a shortcut to understanding a very different view on reality, consciousness, and, well, you. Get ready for some surprises, maybe some aha moments that might challenge how you usually think about things.
It's definitely ambitious material. It really asks you, the listener, to maybe question some fundamental things, these root assumptions about, existence itself. What's interesting is how the source says it'll give you clues to study reality for yourself in a way you haven't before.
Okay, let's jump right in with this core idea then. The source says our physical reality is like a camouflage, and it even calls our senses lovely liars. That's quite a statement. What's behind that?
It is quite a statement, yeah. It's a real challenge to how we usually operate, isn't it? It's not saying physical reality isn't real exactly, more like it's just one form that reality takes. The idea is that what we perceive isn't objective reality, but a kind of programmed perception. Our senses are showing us just one slice. The source puts it bluntly. Your consciousness is not some fiery product formed merely accidentally through the inner workings of chemical components.
Okay, so it's flipping the script. Consciousness isn't just a brain byproduct.
Exactly. It flips it completely. It suggests that actually you form the physical body that you know at a deeply unconscious level. And you do this with great discrimination, miraculous clarity, and intimate unconscious knowledge of each minute cell that composes it.
Wow, so this inner self is building us, essentially.
That's the idea. This part of you is called the inner ego. Not ego like arrogance, but like an inner architect. It's this deep unconscious intelligence building you, cell by cell.
Which leads to the idea that identity isn't just physical.
Right. The source says you are not a cosmic bag of bones and flesh. Your sense of self, your continuity, doesn't depend on the physical body or even the conscious ego we're usually aware of. That ego, the source says, was meant to be an aid, but it has overestimated it.
Okay, so the conscious ego isn't the whole picture. What is our full identity then, according to this?
That brings us to the multidimensional personality. Think of it as your core self, like a psychic seed. Both the outer ego and that inner bodybuilding ego spring from this deeper source. This deeper identity, it says, is what decided you would be a physical being in this place and in this time.
So understanding that changes how we see ourselves.
Profoundly. It suggests you're no more of a physical personality than the non-physical source speaking through the book.
That's a big leap.
It is, and underpinning it all is the idea that there's no such thing as dead matter. Everything, every consciousness rejoices in sensation and creativity. Even things we think are inanimate, they're alive, conscious in their own way.
Wow, okay. So if reality is more fluid, and consciousness is doing all this, building bodies, existing beyond the physical, how do we actually perceive these other layers? Not with our lovely liar senses, presumably.
Right, that's where the inner senses come in. The source says these operate independently of the physical ones. They're described as being quite natively clairvoyant and telepathic.
Natively, so everyone has them. They're not some special power.
That's what's suggested. They're inherent, always operating, just maybe not consciously recognized.
And these inner senses let us see the uncamouflaged situation. What exactly does that mean? It sounds a bit abstract.
Yeah, it does. Think of it as reality without the filter of linear time, where events and form were free and not stuck in a jelly-like mode of time.
Jelly-like mode of time. I like that. So everything happening at once.
Kind of, yeah. Not locked into past, present, future. And the source suggests that in the dream state, you actually experience this more naturally. You form dream environments often to exercise such potentials. Dreams become a sort of training ground.
Okay, that's fascinating. But the source goes further, right? It says when you're dreaming, you're actually wiser, more creative, and far more knowledgeable than when you're awake. That really turns the idea of sleep as just rest on its head.
Completely. It reframes sleep entirely. The material says that in sleep, your consciousness leaves your body often. It communicates with others. It creatively maintains and revitalizes your physical image.
So it's actively doing things.
Very actively. It even suggests you choose from an infinity of probable events, those you will make physical for your future while you sleep.
You choose future events. in your sleep.
That's the claim. You're selecting from possibilities. It's a state of intense creation and interaction.
And this connects to the speakers. Who are they?
Ah, yes, the speakers. They're described as ancient teachers, really ancient. They apparently never wrote anything down. They taught entirely in the dream state. Trainees would learn these unwritten manuscripts through dream journeys or field trips into other kinds of reality.
Wow, so dream teachers.
Essentially, yes. They act as guides in what's called the most protected area of sleep, helping people bring back information into their waking life. It's offered as one explanation for things like guardian angels, these guiding consciousnesses.
Which implies our sleeping self is far more knowledgeable than the waking self, of which you are so proud.
Exactly. You are anything but asleep as you think of the term. It's a period of intense activity, learning, and connection.
Okay, so we're doing all this complex stuff in our sleep. Choosing futures, communicating, learning from dream teachers. This must have huge implications for how we understand time, right?
Absolutely. It forces a rethink. The source states plainly, time is not closed, however it is open. And even more profoundly, all action is simultaneous.
Simultaneous. Everything happening now.
That's the concept, which means one life is not buried in the past, disconnected from the present self and any future self. It even says our reincarnational existences in a large manner co-occur.
Co-occur. So my past lives are happening now, alongside this one.
In a way, yes. Less like beads on a string, more like everything existing in a vast present moment. It's hard to picture, I know.
Definitely hard to wrap my mind around. How does this connect to probable realities and probable selves?
Well, if everything is simultaneous and time is open, it makes sense that there are unlimited probable future events branching out from every moment. Events for which you are now setting groundworks.
And we choose which ones become real.
That's the key point. You choose which of those probable actions you want to make real or physical in your system. It's not passive. Your thoughts, your emotions, they go forth from you, not only in all physical directions, but in directions that are quite invisible to you, constantly interacting with this field of probabilities.
Which brings us right back to creation. You create the world that you know. That's a direct quote, isn't it?
It is. You're called an unconscious co-creator.
And it says, each emotion and thought has its own electromagnetic reality completely unique.
Exactly. Think about that. Your thoughts aren't just abstract things in your head. They have real, unique energy signatures.
So the world around me, my environment, is literally made of my thoughts.
That's the assertion. The source describes your environment as extensions of yourself, materialized mental acts that extend outward from your consciousness.
How does that actually work, though? How do thoughts become things?
The material introduces the moment point concept here. It's described as a sort of non-physical nexus, an intersection point. It's where non-physical experience happens, where the smallest thought is brought to fruition, the slightest possibility explored.
So it's like an energetic framework.
Kind of. It's the mechanism through which your thoughts and feelings form physical reality. This makes your subjective experience, your feelings, incredibly powerful. They are the tools of creation.
And if you don't realize that,
then you feel powerless to change it. You feel like a victim of circumstances. But understanding this, the source implies, gives you back your power.
this really does reinterpret everything.
Yeah.
And it goes into history and religion too, doesn't it? Calling them external facades of inner reality.
It does, yeah. It offers some really unconventional takes.
Like the source itself claiming, your earth was very dear to me, and mentioning a lost religion.
Yes, it talks about a people we have no record of who apparently destroyed their own planet through some error, and they were then reincarnated when your planet was prepared.
And their memories formed our religions.
Their collective memories became the basis for the birth of religion, as you know. That's the narrative presented, a deep, forgotten connection.
And the story of Christ is also different. The three Christs.
Very different. It suggests there were three actual individuals whose lives and stories kind of merged into the single figure of Christ we know.
Three people, wow.
Yeah. And the crucifixion, it's presented as a psychic but not a physical event, a powerful inner drama, not necessarily a historical one in the way we think.
A psychic event.
Yes. And the disciples are described as blessed created fragment personalities representing different human qualities.
So the whole thing was symbolic.
The source calls it a living parable made flesh among you, a kind of cosmic play worked out for your behalf. Deeply symbolic, yes, and transformative on a soul level.
Okay. And then there's Lumonia, a civilization before Atlantis.
That's right, Lumonia. They also apparently destroyed it through their own error.
What was their error?
They tried to eliminate violence physically, leading to a tied-up system of mutual controls that backfired somehow.
And they were technological.
Highly, but in ways we might find strange. They used sound, for instance, to power vehicles of locomotion and to bring about the movement of physical matter.
Moving things with sound. And their art was different, too.
Incredibly different, multidimensional, really. The source says a line was not simply a visual line, but would also represent certain sounds that would be automatically translated.
So you could hear a drawing.
Effectively, yes. Drawings conveyed the entire history or background of the animal, for example. Curves, angles, lines represented pitch, tone, and value. Color was also part of their language, their communication.
That's amazing.
And they could apparently mentally pitch a thought along certain frequencies into form or color. Direct mind-to-form creation. It's described as multi-dimensional art.
Mind-blowing. Looking ahead, the source also makes a prophecy about a third Christ personality.
Yes, identified as Paul or Saul, supposedly returning around 2075.
And the purpose of this return?
To return to straighten out Christianity, as the source puts it, to undermine religious organizations.
Undermine them?
Yes, and to teach humanity to use these inner senses that alone make true spirituality possible. The focus, it says, will be on individual spiritual experience and the expansiveness of soul, shifting away from organized religion.
So bringing all these concepts together,
Yeah.
How does the source define God or the divine? It feels less distant somehow.
Much less distant. The God concept presented is incredibly intimate and expansive. God is more than the sum of all the probable systems of reality he has created, and yet he is within each one of these without exception.
Within everything.
Everything. Within each man and woman. Each spider, shadow, and frog. The core message is God, or all that is intimately a part of you. No separation.
So, okay, these are huge ideas, but the source insists they're practical, right? Not just philosophy.
Absolutely. That's a key point. It says, if you truly grasp that you are a soul and that your universe is idea construction.
Idea construction.
Right. Understanding that can immediately give you clues that enable you to change your environment and circumstances beneficially. It's meant to be empowering.
So we're learning to be co-creators.
Exactly. Learning to handle the energy that is yourself for creative purposes. The goal is to help you sense its vital reality within yourself. To really feel that your consciousness, your identity is independent of the world in which you now focus your primary attention.
And it suggests ways to actually do that. Exercises.
Yeah, it describes practices, like sensing the source of power from which your own breathing and life force come, or imagining that power flowing out from you to the farthest reaches of the universe. And it stresses this isn't just a nice visualization, it's based upon fact.
Because these abilities are always working anyway.
Precisely. These abilities operate whether you know it or not. Understanding them just allows for conscious cooperation. The source notes that our conscious mind often blots out awareness of all this non-physical activity. It plays hopscotch in and out of reality, as it puts it.
Hopscotch, I like that image.
Yeah. So the exercises are about bridging that gap, bringing the unconscious into conscious awareness and use.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground today, some really profound perspective-shifting ideas, exploring this notion that your reality is just so much bigger and more intricate than maybe our everyday senses let on.
Definitely. I think the core takeaway from this deep dive is that your own basic identity is as non-physical as my own, quoting the source again. And that means you are not bound to any category or corner of existence. You're inherently multidimensional, a creative force.
And just think, if your consciousness really does leave your body every night, if it's communicating, creating, maintaining your physical form, processing experiences, even projecting them into the future and choosing which probabilities to make real.
Right. If you're already doing all of that unconsciously, then what else might you be capable of in your conscious, waking life once you really start to understand who and what you truly are?
It definitely leaves you with a lot to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the eternal validity of the soul. We hope this exploration has maybe opened your inner eyes a bit, sparked some curiosity to discover even more about the incredible nature of yourself.